This conference will now be recorded.
Zoom in.
All right, guys, we'll call the meeting to order. I'm going to forego the chairman's comments and move right into the agenda. Looking at approval of the meeting minutes from February and March. Are there any questions or comments? What's that?
Can we do a roll call first?
Yep, go for it.
All right, Cheryl Robinson
Here?
is here. Dave Rowley,
Here.
Jeff Lord,
Here.
Tom Romeo,
Here.
Craig Gautzman,
Here.
Patricia Kennedy, here. Jeff Joyner,
Here.
Andrew Marietta is absent, and James Seward.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, approval of the meeting minutes from February 23rd and March 9th. Any questions or comments or changes?
No, so moved. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Report of the Audit and Finance Committee.
I think we got the minutes in the packet and let those stand as a report.
Okay. We don't need a motion to approve any of those, do we, Megan?
I will do it at the committee meetings.
Yep. Bills and communications, any updates there?
If you go through them, you'll see that we did do the work at 139 Commerce, AJL plumbing and heating that the board approved at the projects meeting or possibly audit and finance. Anyway, 2 weeks ago, they did that. So there is a bill in there for that. You'll also see a bill for New York State Economic Development Council, they're holding their annual meeting and reception at Cooperstown, and every year we pay for that reception at the Hall of Fame. So that's in there. And everything else is normal operating expenses.
Any questions on any of the bills?
No.
Do you need a motion to pay the bills?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, motion carries. Report of the Projects Committee.
We all got copies in our last night, we got them here, right?
Yeah, it was sent out.
Right. And we'll approve those minutes at our next meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Moving into new and unfinished business. Do you have something else, Tom?
No, unless Jody has something that the board needs to have here.
No.
Okay. Move into new and unfinished business. We had the two Paris reports for the IDA and the Oneonta rail yards to review. In talking with Jody, there is one page that is left blank in those because they are still waiting on the board evaluations to be returned. So hint, friendly reminder, we need to get those taken care of. Jody, is there anything else you'd like to go through on those Paris reports?
So really, the rest of the reports are pretty standard information. The next page is really the board of directors listings. Followed by, there is no compensation given to any of the board members. It then goes into discussion of any components if we don't have any. The next section is a summary of financial statements. This is taken directly from our audit, so it's just a new, different way of putting it for the state. And we'll compare these sheets to our audit and confirm that they are the same. The one difference in the financial statements that are entered into the IDA report is we have to remove the section in our audit that has to do with the Oneonta Rail Yards Local Development Corporation. They want to treat those separately, even though they argue that it's one agency. They're tracking them separately.
Is that normal? We've always done that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did not have any outstanding debt. And then the next sections are really the debt, what's been retired. And you'll notice that We started the fiscal year with $170,000 by one of our bond issues that have been fully paid off now. The remaining sections are really the nuts and bolts of individual projects. And that would include things such as all of our pilot agreements, our sales tax exemptions that were given. There is a section in there that they require we have a listing of all of our vendors that are taking more than $5,000 to qualify for hire, which is a national company. JMS Contracting that did repairs to the wall of the building. Which is in Keystone Associates that we paid LX or Rent MRP Group off LA Development District.
Jody, I don't think we need to read through them all. We've reviewed them ahead of time, so I don't think we need to go kind of through all the different vendors there. So I think if there's anything you want to point out specifically in a section, that would be beneficial, I think.
Okay, so it's really kind of just standard information. And if you do need to vote on it, so I can actually certify them. So they do at the end of the month, so this is the first time since I've been here that we've actually made the deadline because we started the audit early.
Does that give us some kind of gold star?
Well, it was funny because we had a staff meeting here the other day, and while we're sitting in the staff meeting, I got a letter from an email from the Authority Budget Office saying we were going to it and submitting our reports. And they were put on a publication list. And I stopped them. I was like, I got dumbfounded. And it turns out that it was the,
Otsego County Development Corporation at us.
and they're on our webpage, so they thought that was our agency. And it's just like, so we clarified that, they sent emails to them. But it was kind of a scare. It's like, wait.
Do you need our report evaluation?
Yes. Okay. So one of the things what we'll do once we approve these is that we have certain documents that we have to upload to our webpage. Those will all be done by next week. So that when the reports are certified, they can actually go in and view all the reports.
Okay, so we need a motion.
So
We'll
with
start with
that,
the IDA.
Dave,
do you mind taking?
both
Dave,
for
do you
the
mind taking
IDA
over? The
as well
sound
as
is
the
cutting in and out.
Development Corporation.
So moved.
Second.
Dave, do you mind running this? The sound is
Yes.
horrible, cutting in and out.
Sure. We have a motion to approve the both. We have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the parish reports for both COIDA and the Onion Railroads. Discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Jody?
Next thing on the agenda is we do have a proposal from CV Richard Ellis. They dropped their price for the appraisals to $3,250 a piece for a total of $6,500. I'm recommending that we go ahead and use this firm. We've used them in the past and they're very qualified to do these appraisals.
Can you just remind me of the scope of what they're appraising?
They're appraising 4 lots in the Oneonta Business Park, as well as the entire Oneonta rail yards, because we don't have appraising on that yet. So when we have an interested person who wants to buy 3 acres there, we don't have a price to tell them what it's worth.
Thanks. Any questions? Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, Jody.
We are going to do this by motion. These are changes that were made to the employee benefit manual. We're removing one of the holidays. We're changing the vacation to roughly, if you're here 3 years, it goes to 10 days vacation, 7 years, 15 days of vacation, 8 and over is 20 days. This is the same as the county, what they offer. And it also includes sections on vacation time, holiday pay, personal leave, and sick leave. Again, all corresponds to what the county.
You do not need a vote on Gene attending the international conference on its own.
Well, not for.
I wouldn't think we would need a vote on that.
No.
No.
Operations.
Yep. Any discussion on the employee handbook changes? Vote to make those changes in the employee handbook.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Opposed? Last thing, Jody.
We did have a resolution, let's step back, we were asked at the last board meeting to look at different rates for CDs that come due at the end of the month. We looked at them, we were going to recommend going to NBT Bank at 4.5% for 10 months. The discussion that we had, I guess, with the finance, to try to do it in a 6-month period and then reevaluate it. At the last minute, after we sent these agendas out, Megan got an email from the person that she deals with at Community Bank, and they indicated that they could do a 4.25% for 6 months or 4.5% for a year. So I'm recommending that we stick with Key Bank. It saves us a lot of paper to transfer everything. And to go for a 6-month CD for 4.25. One of the reasons I'm recommending we do 6 months, in addition that there's some discussion that the rates could actually go up in 6 months, is that we may need that money flexibility for the Richfield Springs project.
So I missed the banks in the end. Is it? Say with key or community?
Community.
Okay, yeah. 4.25.
4.25.
6 months.
The staff went out and did the comparison and found the shortest term at the highest rate.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
we
Make
did.
a motion.
Second,
NBT.
Well, technically, we needed a motion for MDT if we had switched. I don't know that we need a motion.
Just keep it there?
at
Okay.
community.
Whatever.
We can just renew it.
Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing that I want to bring up is that we do have, again, yesterday late before this, after we sent all this out, we did have a meeting with the Capital Energy partners. We received an email from NYSEG that said that they had recently met with the Public Service Commission, and they're recommending that for extension of natural gas, that we need to do a greenhouse gas emission study, determine the potential for electricity to meet the energy needs of the customers, potential energy loads required for natural gas, and measures being taken to become more energy efficient as possible. We have a scheduled meeting for Monday at 2 o'clock, a Zoom meeting that with New York State Electric and Gas representatives, the Public Service Commission, Jim has agreed to be part of that.
Yeah, I got involved because Julie, I reached out to the head of NYSEG. At least it was bringing it to a head. I didn't like the answer that came from the staff. At least we got their attention because that's been wallowing there for years, really.
Yeah.
So John Hammer, I think most of you know from the past, he runs an energy company that primarily works with a lot of the utilities, including NYSEG. He's done testimony before the Public Service Commissioner. His son, who's part of this firm, actually used to work for the Public Service Commission, and he knows all the players that were on the email for this meeting on Monday. They originally wanted $5,000 a month for 6 months. They've agreed to do 3,500 with an option that we can terminate within 30 days. So I'm recommending that we go ahead and hire them to assist us with this.
And we have clear goals.
Yes.
Yeah,
Clear goals is to get electric and natural gas to the site
I think,
with no more studies.
yeah, well, the goal will be to try to eliminate some of those studies from having to be done.
I mean,
As long as we have clear goals, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
it's
Achieve
really,
some of those goals at some point.
and we're gonna have a meeting, we're gonna have a phone meeting on Monday with Jim, myself and John and Michael to discuss our strategy going into the 2 o'clock meeting. But primarily, my recommendation is that if you look at the site, we're really only developing 12 to 13 acres. It's not like we have a tremendous gas load there. And to do all these studies is really overkill. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Don't we have one potential business that relies heavily on natural gas, Andella?
Yes. And I don't think,
She's a lot of electric.
yeah, and she doesn't use
Yeah, I don't
that
think
much
she's heavy.
gas.
Should
Oh,
use
she
it.
does?
Yeah, building mostly fabrication, so I,
She's interested in the natural gas component only because right now, in the winter time, there are times where she can't get deliveries of propane, because of road conditions. So she likes the consistency of knowing that she has to be able to.
She is currently, she's.
No.
let me say, this is, to me, New York State at its best, just making it difficult for no apparent reason. Thank you, sir, for, BS, we would call it in our business. But yes, let's do, we gotta finish. Finish and get that gas and electric to the site.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll do what I can do to push, my way. I know some of the commission members, former members of the Senate.
Well, this is,
We're trying to cover both ends. Jim knows the higher up problem. Michael Hunter knows all of the staff people that are going to be at this meeting.
yeah, this is not a radical project, but,
Oh, it's a 2-inch,
yeah.
although I think it may be outside their
Service.
service area for gas, so it may be a franchise. That's where I think we may be heading with this, so that's. But
Bottom line is, it's a very critical meeting.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to do.
Yes, we need consultants to get it
We're
done.
gonna, we're putting in the gas line, it would be nice to have approval to run natural gas through the gas line.
And this bypasses the town and village, any input from the town and village up there, right?
Yes.
Any other discussion? You need a motion?
Yeah.
To exactly what approval we,
To hire Capital Energy Partners for $3,500 per month, not to exceed 6 months, with a 30-day termination notice. Because what I said is, I can't wait 6 months. We got to finish this up in a month. So
motion,
So,
second? Second. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period. We have anybody from the public? I just wanted to mention that Robinson Construction is in town working on a project on Main Street. So we were going to touch base with them about potentially a more finished grading down in the area they use for staging.
okay, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, just wanted to let you know that they're there. Executive session, is there any need for an executive session? Motion to adjourn.
to move.
We are adjourned.
Have a great day, sir.
Well, we have
One more.
Oh,
Not so bad.
Gerald, you want me to do this one also?
Yeah, the sound is very laggy and cutting in and out, so if you could, please.
Let me call the meeting for OCCRC, Thursday, March 23rd. Roll call, please, Megan.
Joe Robinson, Here, she's virtual. Dave Rowley,
Here.
Jeff Lord,
Here.
Tom Romeo,
Here.
Craig Gusman,
Here.
Tricia Kennedy, Jeffrey Joyner,
Here.
Andrew Marietta is absent, and James Stewart.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have meeting minutes from February 23rd, 2023. Is there any discussion on those meetings, minutes, questions? Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. No unfinished business. Jody?
We have a resolution for modifications relating to the Templeton Foundation project. This is where I'll let Shannon speak.
Morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, so as the Vice Chair indicated, this resolution relates to Templeton Foundation project. It's for modifications relating to the bond. So part of this relates to the rules related to tax exemption. So what we're trying to do basically is remove the rate that's related to LIBOR, which is an interest rate index that is being discontinued and no longer used within the United States and kind of around financial markets. And instead, we're going to be using SOFR, which is a new index rate. The resolution also contains provisions in the event this is considered a reissuance so that the CRC can enter into new documents, all the modification documents, potentially a new 8038, etc. When I spoke with Chris, he indicated that this is very likely not going to be a reissuance. It's just going to be modification from LIBOR to SOFR. There's IRS regulations related to this so that we can just do the modification without having to be considered a reissuance. But in the event that happens, this resolution authorizes everything that you would need to do regardless. So it's fairly straightforward, but if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I really didn't hear a lot of that, unfortunately.
Interest rate change. When it expired.
The LIBOR rate is going away as an index to base any kind of financing on, so the replacement rate is SOFR. We have to do.
Very sorry. Any questions? Motion to approve the resolution for modification?
Do a roll call.
It's a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the motion.
Go ahead.
Cheryl Robinson can't technically vote because.
I was gonna say, I say yes, but yeah, I can't vote, so.
David Rowley,
Yes.
Jeff Lord,
Yes.
Craig Gusman, Jeff Joyner,
Same.
Tom Romeo,
Yes.
Patricia Kennedy. Yes. Andrew Marietta, and James Stewart.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Resolution for modification related to the Mary Imogene Bassett Hospital project.
This is the same issue as the other one.
Right.
It has to do with the legal going away.
Say that again, Jeremy.
The legal rate going away. Thank you very much.
Institutions or organizations are involved. Any questions? Roll call, Megan?
Robinson, and I vote on this. David Rowley,
Yes.
Jeff Lord,
Yes.
Craig Gusman,
Yes.
Jeff Joyner,
Same.
Tom Romeo,
Yes.
Patricia Kennedy. Yes. Andrew Marietta is absent, James Stewart.
Yes.
It passes.
Resolution is approved. Joe, do you want to mention anything about the OCCRC parish reports?
No, really, the only other thing is, as Cheryl pointed out, the second page is blank until we skip some more of the board evaluations. But other than that, it's pretty standard. All the bonds are reconciled. So it's nice that we corrected it 2 years ago because they fall into place really easy now.
Discussion, questions? Motion to approve OCCRC parish reports.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. No executive session necessary, I assume. Motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.
Let's redo that again.